Good evening once again and welcome to the second edition of News Tonight. It's me, Michael Jordan Lukomwa, with Elizabeth Nakakoni, and let's have a look at the top stories as we begin. Police arrests 2 suspects over kidnap and murder of a Wana UBC James from Barara. Girls applauded for embracing ICT as world celebrates International Day for Girls in ICT. Black Lives Matter supporters celebrate guilty verdicts against Derek Chauvin. While Stanbic Uganda Cup round of 16 draws made, Express versus URA in the second out fixture. This is what we have for you this time round. Welcome aboard. Parliament has asked government to revise the parish development model, which aims at relieving Ugandans of poverty. Parliamentarians, backed by Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, have asked Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development Matia Kasaija to carry out a pilot study on the proposed parish model strategy before shaping a huge $403 billion in the budget. Kasaija was also recently bounced by the Budget Committee after he failed to impress the members about the intended parish model plan. Daniel Mugoya has the report from Parliament.
The money language has continued to dominate the rhythm as the 10th Parliament gets concerned over misallocation of government funds targeting the fight to end poverty in Uganda. Matia Kasaija, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, has since been challenged in satisfying the government-approved program dubbed the Parish Model, which aims at organizing and delivering public and private sector interventions for wealth creation and employment generation at parish level. Kasaija, who was bounced by the Budget Committee of Parliament recently, has tabled a ministerial statement on the parish development model to the 10th Parliament, which he described in 7 pillars, including financial inclusion, social services, mindset change, and community data, among others.
Pillar number 3, financial inclusion. Interventions under this pillar are intended to promote savings and investment by households in activities with potential for generating a production surplus. The specific interventions include 1. Establishment and capitalization of the parish revolving fund. 2. Supervision of parish-based circles.
In the parish development model, government seeks over $400 billion in the next financial year 2021-2022 to fight poverty, especially at the grassroots levels.
And it will be managed by a specialized financial institution, that is the parish circle, that is supervised by a regulator for their perpetual use and multiplication.
The House, which was seething like a beehive, could not let Minister Kasaija enjoy his seat, as members of Parliament described the minister's plea as an ambush which lacks research and information.
Why? You said very well that according to the local government, parish level is a planning level. So why are you turning the planning level into an implementation level? 2,
by these circles, most of them disappeared. The money of people were eaten up by others. And now when you talk of the circle, people are not impressed with the circles. So the way this money is going to be given, that's the one way of failing.
Work money for women, collapse the youth money, and collapse all these other projects. Agricultural ministry must actually be closed, because now it will have nothing, because all these projects you have talked about, coffee, whatnot, cotton, will now not be driven under the Ministry of Agriculture.
The legislators have advised government to instead strengthen the already available programs of the same than introducing more of slogans.
What hypothetical question
are you trying to answer through this parish model that has not been answered by other government interventions? And I want to specifically interest myself.
What we were saying in the TDA was putting centers of excellence at every parish so that government would give these areas money. You take your coffee, you take your beans, government buys them, even if they lose market, but the farmer has got food.
About 10,594 parishes are currently in Uganda, and according to Minister Kasaija, each parish, if given chance of the parish development model, will be able to get about 38.16 million shillings, which funds will cater for all interest groups.
And then Uganda is not ending tomorrow. Why don't you move slowly? Maybe you pilot. Let's do an experiment. But you are stampeding, and this is not right. This is not right. So, and I'm saying that it's better to start. Let's start. Then we move on. We may see our pitfalls and then try to rectify them.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Guita Binji, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight. Government of Uganda has rolled out refugee jobs and livelihood integrated plans to empower refugees with entrepreneurial skills. The first Deputy Prime Minister, General Moses Ali, while launching the project, encouraged building relations and incorporation with available government projects in the country.
As the influx of refugees increases in Uganda, government has embarked on improving their livelihood and that of host communities through social, economic, and financial inclusion. It is against that backdrop that a jobs and livelihood integrated response plan for refugees and host communities has been designed.
Developed and launched a policy for health, a plan for health. We have also developed and launched a plan for environment because of the degraded environment that our refugees and host communities find themselves in.
The government of Uganda has been providing land to refugees, and due to their influx, it has decided to embark on capital development initiatives of money mobilization to reduce dependence.
The comprehensive refugee response framework is a new way of working, which emphasizes both humanitarian and development intervention running concurrently.
This money-making project in refugee communities has been initiated by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development.
Establishing functional agricultural extension systems for strengthening capacities of vocation and taking for education institutions and diversifying. Establishing effective refugee and post-community social protection systems.
The first Deputy Prime Minister, Alhaji Moses Ali, officiated at the event and called for good relationship between refugees and host communities.
Nobody goes from fire to fire. You can't run from fire to fire.
The UN mission to Uganda is part of the partners in support of this project, and their involvement is based on transparency and accountability to emphasize sustainability.
Attracting support can only be sustained if we can demonstrate that there's value for money in the way we manage the resources and the impact of our work.
Despite government's closure of Ugandan borders, there is increasing fear of refugees sneaking through porous borders from Congo into the country, thereby putting at risk lives of border communities.
But they are crossing through the porous borders and mixing with the citizens of Uganda. This is happening in Kanungu, this is happening in Kisoro, this is happening in Kasese, this is happening in Bundubujo.
The plan seeks to ensure social and economic ability of individuals, households, and communities of refugee hosting districts to meet essential needs through enhancing employability and livelihood. Abdul Nasir Lubwama, UBC News.
Police have arrested 2 suspects of aggravated murder and robbery. The duo, Patrick Sonko and Ewandu Tasingwa, residents of Luwero districts, are accused of killing Ahimbisiwe James from Mbarara district. These are said to have abducted Ahimbisiwe from Mbarara and killed him after robbing him of his car and finally dropped his body in Luwero district. Spokesperson of the Criminal Investigations Directorate of Police, Charles Twine, says that further investigations are underway and the body will be exhumed and taken to the deceased's ancestral home in Barara for decent burial.
And went and arrested the owner of that car, who was Tasingwa. Tasingwa was interrogated and he revealed that yes, he was having a vehicle that was stolen, but the vehicle belonged to Sonko, Patrick, his colleague. So he led the police officers to the whereabouts of Sonko. Sonko was arrested and the duo were interrogated and eventually they confessed, being the one that went to Mbarara, abducted, killed and robbed the vehicle of Ahimsiwe. They also further revealed to the police that they took the dead body in Kasana Ruwero. Now they led the police officers to that particular place, and their confession was so consistent. And of course we also compared their confession with the CCTV footages which we have all the way from Barara up to Ruwero. Now we are in the process of having the body exhumed, post-mortem done, as well as profiling the DNA. The moment the DNA is established to be similar to the family members that have been identified from Barara, then inevitably we shall be surrendering the body to the family.
And now, Archbishop Emeritus, His Grace Stanley Ntagali, has confessed and sought forgiveness for his acts of adultery. Appearing remorseful, Ntagali openly sought for forgiveness from the church and both his and the family of Bishop Christopher. This was during the 60th anniversary of self-governance of the Church of Uganda.
The Anglican Church of Uganda has marked 60 years of self-governance behind muted celebrations, except for Thanksgiving service that was held at St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe. Tight marked with the standard operating procedures, the congregation here ensured full adherence to social distancing and wearing of face masks. Presiding over the service was Right Reverend George Katwesije, who recounted how far the Church of Uganda has come, stemming from the days of the native Church of England.
And some of us belong to that native Church of England. In our prayers, where we pray for the head of state, we are praying for the Queen. And we had crammed all those names and titles.
Reverend Katwesije also took cognizance of the previous political turmoil that nearly grounded the institution.
Some of us have met some challenges and probably some persecutions. Were moments when we knew this is the end. But the day they killed the Archbishop, I had seen him in the morning. The following morning, for one reason or another, I was in Mulago. I just discovered he was in the mortuary.
He also sought the congregation to stand firm in faith, for the reward awaits them. During the Thanksgiving service, Archbishop Emeritus Stanley Ntagali confessed his adultery sin and asked for forgiveness, pledging to renew his faith in God, the strong foundation of the church.
I have a confession. On Christmas Eve, 1974, as a young man, I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And I still love the Lord because He has loved me, and I have loved to serve Him over the years. Sadly, I fell into sin of adultery, and I confessed to the Lord to forgive me And I want the church to forgive me, my brother bishops, all our partners, brothers and sisters in the vineyard of the Lord, the entire Church of Uganda, and all our partners all over the world, and the family of Reverend Christopher and his wife Judith, the two families, please forgive me. I thank the Lord for loving me, and I will continue serving him until he calls me home. Praise the Lord.
Meanwhile, the Church of Uganda has launched a project dubbed Kingdom Development Organ, KIDO, that is envisaged to promote self-sustainability of the institution. To grace the launch was the former Prime Minister, John Patrick Amama Mbabazi. To cause a big footprint in the financial stability of the institution, Mbabazi advised the church to ensure that the church land countrywide is fully titled.
The church must strive to preserve the assets acquired in these 60 years, most especially land. Land is needed to generate revenue for the church. It is a blessing from God, and without it, our efforts for having a self-sustaining church will be in vain. On this matter, therefore, I advise the church leadership to ensure that they process titles for all church land across the province. There are several cases of land grabbing across the province. People are not ashamed to steal church land. This is unbelievable but true. It's a fact. We must secure our land.
The Church of Uganda became self-governing in 1961 when the then Bishop of the Diocese of Uganda, Leslie Brown, was enthroned as the first Archbishop of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Bonga Zaire. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
60 years of the Church of the Province of Uganda. Congratulations to the church. Moving on, Minister for ICT and National Guidance Judith Nabakova has called upon girls and women across the country to embrace ICT. She was speaking at a press conference where she met young ladies that have continued to engage in ICT programs to develop fellow women as they celebrated the International Day of Girls in the ICT sector.
Every 22nd day of April, the world celebrates girls in ICT as a way of creating awareness on women and girls engaging in ICT.
Uganda has certainly achieved a lot when it comes to closing the digital gap. Women in Uganda have consistently embraced the ICT, not just as end users, but as leaders and also developers of software applications.
Nabakova says this is done to celebrate the women that have consistently embraced and engaged in ICT usage.
As the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, we are proud with the progress Uganda is making so far in the ICT sector. And I think the COVID-19 pandemic gave us an opportunity as a ministry and Ugandans to embrace and shine.
UBC TV managed to speak to some of the women that have engaged in ICT as women in technology.
So we have seen that during this period, our women have been able to maintain access to their businesses, to maintain access to their customers, because they're able to adopt to online technologies, which is what our mission is all about.
Yeah, so by the end of the day, we believe that there are so many organizations doing their best to solve education inequality, but they don't have direction. So for this reason, it has been so hard to actually eradicate these inequalities. Thus, the need for this data and information that people can focus on as they are making decisions to also reach out to these other areas.
which is why Girls in ICT Day means a lot for us, because we believe that each one of us is able to contribute in our own way, especially with the adoption of ICT tools.
They as well request the government to reduce on taxes placed on social media and bring back Facebook that was blocked during elections to enable them do their work unhampered. Jane Ramsha, UBC News.
Uganda Communications Commission has joined the rest of the world to celebrate the International Girls' Day in ICT. Here in Uganda, UCC has engaged with the young achievers and innovators to mark the day. The day was celebrated globally, and it aims at inspiring a global movement to increase representation of girls and women in technology.
Uganda Communications Commission has engaged with young achievers and innovators to celebrate the International Girls in ICT Day. This is aimed at creating gender digital divide, support technology education through encouraging more girls and women to achievely pursue careers in the system.
So we look at the fact that there are women and girls who can participate in coding, in telecommunication services, in the different IT disciplines, and even in developing of mobile apps. But we also recognize the other complementary professions that make ICTs possible. So ICTs, yes, we know is not just about the technical, but it also has the human element, and we celebrate and want to encourage more women to get into this field.
Kagwa is optimistic about technological inclusion of women and all classes of people, which is a good gesture for the country's development.
We have women behind cameras, we have more women even in the telecoms. Before, many of these were extremely dominated by the men, and the women would mainly take on secretarial roles, catering roles within these organizations. But now we see that even in the classes, in the computer classes, the engineering classes, the journalism classes, you actually see more women have embraced this area of ICTs.
Unlike the usual celebrations, this year, UCC decided to mark the day by engaging with young achievers with a belief to embrace ICT at a young age.
The reason we started young is start encouraging, grooming that interest, so that even when they are young, they start thinking, hey, I liked that, I enjoyed that, rather than it being the educational style of I am reading books to go into a direction. They start appreciating the practical side of it and also nurture their innovativeness, because then they know that as they do very many other complementary things, they can start innovating at that young age.
The celebrations globally are marked under the theme, Connected Girls, Creating Brighter Futures. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
The Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Maiga, has urged the people living with HIV to stop regretting but remain brave and take their medicine as directed by health workers. Maiga said this during the closure of a 2-day summit of people living with HIV held here in Kampala.
Statistics from UNAIDS show that 1.4 million people in Uganda are living with HIV, and about 120,000 people have access to the life-prolonging drugs. Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV/AIDS held a 2-day summit intended to educate these young people living with HIV. Closing the summit, Buganda Katikiro Charles Peter Maiga advised youth to always test and find out their serostatus through medical process other than testing by physical appearance.
Here in Uganda, especially in Kampala, people talk about, girls with big hips and big bottoms. You know what I'm saying? Even a girl with big hips would be HIV positive. It doesn't mean that if she's slender, she's HIV negative. Yeah? Stop just looking at people and judging them. You have to actually take the tests to know, however good looking the girl may be, however sharp the man may appear, you can't know whether he's HIV positive or negative by looking at them. The skin may look very smooth. Now, those are the mistakes that we make.
Katikio Maiga also condemned some cultural norms and practices that have continued to exacerbate spread of HIV, especially among the youth.
You cannot deny what a man wants. Do you know that community? Omsaja Tayang, Omojo Tayang, or something like that. I think these are the disparities we have in gender. How can you say that a man cannot be denied what he wants? In the process, you contract HIV/AIDS.
Some youths living with HIV shared their experiences and challenges they undergo.
Let us always look forward to really achieving what we want for our lives and never give up in whichever things we are supposed to do for our own selves.
Information that I have for the people that stigmatize is that if you stigmatize anyone who is HIV positive, you are the same as that person who murders. You are the same as a murderer.
In Ramchia, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles. MTN.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
But you can access URA online. Why pay a visit?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely Digital Tracking Solution, the Voluntary Disclosure Program and Electronic Fiscal Receipting, and Invoicing Solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Introducing Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School, located in Chebando, Chisalu-Salu, along Bukoto Roundabout, 2 kilometers from Kalere at the Northern Bypass, on your way to Chisasi. This is a world-class standard school with the most qualified teachers that will turn your child into a world changer. We have a fully stocked library, a balanced diet for the children, a calm environment suitable for learning, and pocket-friendly school fees. Registration for P1 to P6 is ongoing, and second term is starting on 6th April 2021. Call us on 0774 950 277 or 0705 861 262 for more information. Cleveland Hill Day and Boarding Primary School. The Lord is my shepherd.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good. Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a...
UBC News Tonight. Welcome back from the break. Before it became a district, Sembabule was originally part of the Greater Massacre district, With effect from the 1st of July 1997, Zimbabwe attained a district status with 2 counties, Rwemiyaga and Maogola. In total, there are 35 parishes and 402 villages in the whole district of Zimbabwe. Agriculture is the main economic activity in the district, with cassava, sweet potatoes, maize, millet, nuts, peas, soya beans, bananas and yams grown as the main food crops. After several discussions with the residents, President Yoweri Museveni introduced them to agricultural training and equipped them with farm implements. Godfrey Rakawaruza is one of the beneficiaries, as we see in this story.
Godfrey Rakawaruza of Chibere village used to ride his bicycle going around the village working for food, or what we call in Uganda or kusaka.
Nalinga simanyi bya kulima ngadi musasi ngatamba nakagali ogera kusaka Museveni ebyo naje otuyigiriza ebyo nebivaako natandika kutuyigiriza kyo kulima nera wanga fe nga bale bajja kunambula ngajja kunjigiriza byo kulima.
He is now able to pay school fees for his children without stress.
Mtwalo 15 nyinayo yika emu kati yikange emu buli wiki ntema nyunja amatoke 10 kata matoka ago ngene kunganya ne kuzamata liters 10 byona ne kunganya mu ne seti mwezi yimtwalo ngana za matoke olwo ngapeleze school fees abana ne zamata.
He has 1 acre of matoke and earns 400,000 shillings monthly.
Yampentemu nemudize mpano era simanyo era namata nera kutandika n'olwo naso kulumlete enganda nagera kwanga simala kunazo chance ni for president waffe natuyamba natukwata ku mukono nampente era ente ngifunyemu nnyo era n'okutuuka wano mwebaliza ddala.
In 2012, he was given a milk cow, which has been really profitable, and his herd has become bigger. He requests the president for better market for the milk and the matoke, which are really going at very low prices.
N'olwekyo singa Mukama atuyambye president waffe ono byetwogera bituukirira yatuyambye natufunira akatale n'amata gaffe tukama n'amata balinga batwalaga bwereere. Bwebanga tufunye akatale nga kagenda maaso nange siba kuva mu nyumba eno gyolaba nfuna amakanga genyirira gabalala era amakanga ngola kutuuka wano matago kumbeera nfuna mpola amatoke tegatambula bulungi amata tegatambula bulungi naye koko nti amakanga galibwe gatyo naye nze saba oteeremu akatale tufuna akatale kwegamba tugende mu maaso embeera ngenyirire nve mu nyumba nange nfunye enyumba ennungi ng'eyabalala.
He has embarked on training others who were in his situation before PAD came to their rescue.
Truck drivers plying routes within the East African Community member states have commended regional governments for putting up all borders testing and plying programs. The PCR machines installed at all border points avail both negative and positive COVID-19 results in a space of only 2 to 4 hours, a milestone that has fastened movement of goods and services to their final destinations. The testing exercise that is supervised by the Line Ministry of Health aims at combating spread of COVID-19 at border points, as we see in this story.
Uganda is among the countries which are on the forefront of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, with the fight ranging on the Ministry of Health is not relenting. It's now partnering with NGOs to forge ways of reducing the pandemic and encouraging the population to comply with the standard operating procedures. Ministry of Health is supervising the test and fly company at the border points, where truck drivers are tested using modern facilities. The facility produces immediate results within 2 to 4 hours compared to the previous slow pace of having results after a week. At the moment, The total cases of COVID-19 in Uganda are 41,422, total death 341, total recovery 40,898. However, government is still fighting through partnering with other companies to reduce these cases. Our visit to Malaba border point was to ascertain the compliance of the PCR machines on having the COVID-19 results released in the specified time of 2 hours or 1. The truck drivers we found lining up in long lines were all attended to in the specified.
Because we were finishing 5 days waiting for results at the moment. We test for 4 hours, the results are out.
They, however, complain of the higher charges for testing. Each test is charged 170,000 shillings. The chairman of Regional Lorry Drivers and Transporters Association, Brian Chineni, says the quick availability of results using the PCR machine has eased the work of drivers and quick delivery of goods and services to the final destinations on time.
Is this right? And I'm happy with the test and fly. We have been tested and the results have been out just within 4 hours.
The marketing executive of Test and Fly, Brogan Ochungi, revealed that the company was established in August 2020 following the high demand of testing for COVID-19 on the border points.
We can test, for example, truck drivers around 100 in a day at this point of Malaba, and then we have Busia customs point of entry where we can test something like 700. That's a collection point. Mutukula sometimes we go between 50 to 100 still, and then we have Elebu border, that is also a point of custom entry. We have something like 70 in a day.
Shaidat in Nasaku, Fred Kaswante, UBC News.
Let us take another short rest. Please keep around.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discount. Airtel, the smartphone network.
2020 was the year the tourism sector got disconnected. But this year, we reconnect. To leads, growth, to industry experts, to wider markets, to untapped potential. Be part of the first ever virtual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo and engage with industry experts from around the world. Find out how you can grow your leads, put your tourism business back on the map, and a whole lot more. Sign up for free at www.poate.co.ug/register and reconnect with your world. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo runs from the 27th to the 29th of April 2021 and is proudly brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board. What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles.
MTN.
Yes, welcome back from the break. We'll now go straight to our business news tonight. Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, in conjunction with the National Agricultural Research Organization, that's NARO, are carrying out experiments using technology of AfriSafeSeed to analyze how grain-free aflatoxins can be produced. During a high-level dialogue meeting organized by the Directorate of Socio-Economic Monitoring and Research in the Office of the President, the Commissioner Crop Inspection and Certification in the Ministry of Agriculture, Paul Mwambu, said that this is one of the strategies to stop infection process at the field level.
In March this year, Kenya banned exportation of Ugandan maize on grounds that the product had aflatoxins which are dangerous to people's health. The ban resulted in the country losing an estimated $120 million of denied income and 350 tons of maize export, which caused a setback to an already fragile economy due to COVID-19 pandemic.
This is another area that we need to revisit, so that if by eating the one which has 20 parts per billion is okay with the United States, why should we condemn our farmers who their product is still within 11, 12?
Directorate of Socio-Economic Monitoring and Research in the Office of the President is now engaging stakeholders in discussions to find lasting remedy of food standards and their safety.
Maize exports, it's not only exports. We are also talking about food security. We are also talking about health and health expenses. Because if people are eating aflatoxins, they are bound to be unhealthy.
This problem has been realized and given attention following an increase in production of the crop. However, experts say there is a challenge of mindset where farmers are resistant to the post-harvest infrastructure by World Food Programme and continue to dry maize on tarmac and their compounds, hence degrading standard of the crop. The National Development Plan 3 comes with a parish development model where most of the services are funded to help farmers achieve quality and standard products.
Find them putting to dry their maize on the tarmac, they try to dry their cassava on tarmac.
Where is the farmers? The farmers at the parish. And when you are trying to address quality, you have to address it from the garden to the consumer, if you are in the country, or from the garden to the exporter.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, together with NARO and NADS, are putting strategies in place like AfriSafeSeed to stop infection process at field level and setting up maize storage facilities since aflatoxins contamination in cereals increases at post-harvest.
Is what we call AfriSafeSeed.
This is a aflatoxin safe seed, which is coated with what I was calling a toxigenic fungi, which don't cause the
Other issues highlighted to further improve grain trade include enforceable regulation that is strict on standards and developing a full range of products from maize for import substitution. I'm Nafka Farida and Stephen Kalisia in Kampala.
Uganda National Bureau of Standards is to introduce new solar standards with the aim of protecting consumers from substandard products and encourage solar uptake. Meanwhile, the Uganda Tourism Board has started a sensitization drive targeting all hoteliers across the country in order to have a flawless grading and classification exercise.
Uganda Tourism Board is holding a two-day sensitization meeting with hoteliers ahead of the grading and classification exercise for all tourism facilities across the country. The exercise is aimed at ensuring that Uganda tourism facilities meet the regional and international standards.
If you have any complaint, please be free to address it in this training that you are having today. If you have any questions, be free to ask them, so that when you are finally graded, we don't receive as many complaints as we received last time.
UTB's quality assurance team will be sensitizing hotel owners and managers on the general criteria for grading and classification and the ESC standards.
These parameters are known. It's really not that anything that is going to be smuggled in, no. It is transparently done. And these assessors that are independent, they're supposed to make sure that the process is full of integrity, full of honesty, full of trust, and then also transparently done. So I don't think, if there are any complaints, definitely can respond to them.
The standards include, among others, classification criteria for lodges, motels, restaurants, guest houses, tented camps, town hotels, vacation hotels, villas, cottages, and apartments.
In a related development, dealers of solar panels have been sensitized on the new plug-and-play standards, which will take effect in June this year. The initiative by Uganda National Bureau of Standards seeks to protect consumers from substandard solar products.
Many people in our population had lost trust in the solar energy because of the quality of the products. These standards coming into place is to help to get back the trust of the consumers in the technology, such that when I buy a system for my grandmother deep down in Arua, she is very sure that what my grandchild has brought for me is going to do what she has said it's going to do.
Kampala City Traders Chairman Everest Kayondo is optimistic the initiative will promote quality of products, thereby positioning solar energy as an important source of power in Uganda's energy mix.
This receipt system is very important. Don't just buy the item, and if the source is Chinese, then please avail the receipt to the arresting officer, such that the arresting officer can know your source and they will know where. Because it's more, in fact, it's even more important to arrest the importer than to arrest somebody who is just buying from the importer.
Creating and promoting a self-regulating environment is expected to go a long way in facilitating the offering of quality energy solutions and services to customers. Dennis Sigoa and Charlotte Muge for UBC Business.
An anti-counterfeit communication campaign has been launched to prevent farmers from buying counterfeit products and also protect human lives. The move follows increasing cases of cancer in Uganda, which have been attributed to counterfeit pesticides on the market.
Increasing cases of cancer have been attributed to counterfeit pesticides used by farmers to spray their crops, thus causing serious health impacts on humans.
There is need for vigilance when purchasing the pesticides. Pay close attention to the quality markers and make sure you buy from trusted suppliers and report criminals to the authorities as soon as possible. Dealers also need to desist from this vice. Ensure to source from official distributors, report criminals as well, and check all received consignment
This has attracted attention of AntiCounterfeit Network, together with Bukola Chemical Industries, to fight the counterfeiters.
We call upon the government through the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries to take action aggressively against agrochemical counterfeits, because this affects the very livelihoods of the people of Uganda and results in low tax collection.
This partnership is to take 90 days with the aim of profiling, charging and imprisoning the culprits. The director, AntiCounterfeit Network, Fred Mwema, urges farmers to report counterfeiters involved in this business to save lives of Ugandans.
In Uganda, we are very price sensitive. Even the traders, you see those people in those malls there. When they go to China, the Chinese will tell them this is #1. They will ask for #8, the worst. They go and ask for the worst because they will claim that for us, that's what the Ugandans want. But that is not true, because cheap things are expensive. You will think that you have bought a cheap product, but it will be expensive. When you fall sick after using the product, you spend money on the doctor.
Mwema says the days of cheating local investors are numbered, and the counterfeiters have been advised to shun the vice and deal with genuine manufacturers.
The maximum sentence for anybody who counterfeits a trademark is 5 years, but it is also as low as 3 months. So what we want to do, let us at least have more counterfeiters go to prison, even if it is for a month or 1 year. What has been happening is that many of them, the offense is committed, they go away scot-free.
Executive Director of Bukola Chemical Industries says a number of Bukola chemical products are on the market, and explained how their originals differ from the fake.
But one is fake, one is original. So these people are so street smart that they can even get the exact kind of replica packaging for these products. So inside here, this is a fake product because I can see it was tampered on at the ceiling here, at the cap.
The operation is set to begin Friday, 23rd April this year. Sudat Kai, UBC.
On the international scene, the U.S. people held rallies on Tuesday across New York City to celebrate after a jury found former police person Derek Chauvin guilty of all charges in the murder of George Floyd nearly a year ago. Gathering in Manhattan's Union Square outside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn and other sites, Black Lives Matter supporters also called for continued police reforms aiming to dismantle systemic racism by restructuring those systems. The judge presiding over the high-profile trial announced on Tuesday that Chauvin was found guilty of 2 counts of murder and 1 count of manslaughter over the death of Floyd on the 25th of May 2020. The jurors found Chauvin, a white man, guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter, all 3 counts he was charged with over the killing of a black man, Floyd. Chauvin pleaded not guilty to all the charges. After 2 hours of demonstration, people began to march onto the streets in the city before crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, causing temporary traffic disruption.
Work to do. I'm excited about some of the police reforms that are happening in the city. I'm excited about some of the police reforms that are happening in New York State, but we need comprehensive police reform across the...
Fire crews had largely contained a big wildfire on the slopes of Cape Town's Table Mountain on Tuesday as the city started to come to terms with the damage caused by what officials described as one of the area's worst blazes in years. About 90% of the fire had been contained at the Table Mountain National Park, authorities said, but only after firefighters again worked through the night and were into a third day battling the flames.
The battle to contain one of Cape Town's worst fires in recent years is almost over, and now the city is counting its losses. Helicopters have conducted aerial water bombing in high sections of the mountain to put out fires at hotspots. Some firefighting crews are still on the scene doing the same in lower parts of the mountain.
We currently have minimal crews on the mountain slopes, mostly seasonal firefighters that's doing the mop-up operation. Because after such a fire over such a vast area, the aftermath and the overall takes quite some time. So I predict here by Friday, Saturday, we won't have anyone there with mopping up operations. But mostly there will be a couple of flare-ups, but that will be also in the burnt area.
Local authorities say 11 structures have been destroyed and vast parts of Table Mountain have been burnt. The University of Cape Town's African Studies Program library also went up in flames, destroying priceless print and audiovisual material.
It impacted on a lot of different things. It was just not only the fire with the vegetation and the structures that was damaged in the fire. The iconic structure, the Mostard's Mill, that was now damaged, and most probably the damages at the UCT, the Jagger Library, where they needed a structural engineer to see, obviously with the structural integrity of the building, does it need to be rebuilt.
Students who were evacuated from the university's dormitory are set to return in the next 24 hours, once firefighters give them the all clear. Many Cape Town residents volunteering at the fire station are also set to stand down. While the flurry of activity at this central fire station has all but died down, donations of food and drink continue to pour in for firefighters who remain in the mountains tending to the hotspots. And those hotspots are being monitored very carefully by authorities, who are also checking on the 4 firefighters who were injured while trying to put out the blaze.
In the world of sport, draws for the round of 16 for the 47th Stanbic Uganda Cup have been made at the Federation of Uganda Football Association's headquarters in Mengo. Details with our reporter in this one.
Ten-time Uganda Cup winners Express FC have been drawn to face Uganda Revenue Authority in this year's Stanbic Uganda Cup round of 16.
So, and is picking an opponent for his former team. URA, will Express fans forgive him? Well, we shall wait and see after the 2 legs.
The Wankulukuku best side will host the first leg between 1st and 6th May in this tournament that for this year's edition was reduced to 64 teams due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We want to appreciate government for having allowed us to come back to the playing field and for having given us the directions that we have received. We want to pledge our total commitment, but also request. I think we feel it is time that the conditions are eased up. We've been testing our athletes time and again, and the results are on the encouraging side. I need to avoid the word positive because in COVID-19 positive means you are not well. But the results have been positive. We've not received any COVID positive case in the last years, in the last periods that we have tested our people.
In other ties, a UPDF will play SC Vipers, Proline face Mbale Heroes, Onduparaka entertains a Sports Club Vida, and Wakiso Giants dates Toro United. Police and Bright Stars is one of the many All Premier League fixtures. Maroons will host KCC in the first leg, while the winner in the postponed Kitara vs Kigezi Homeboys game has Bull FC waiting. The winners of this year's Stanbic Uganda Cup will get 50 million shillings, while second position earns 40 million shillings. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Vipers Sports Club will look to stretch its lead at the Uganda Premier League table when they host Express FC at St. Mary's Stadium in Chitende. Vipers, who are level with URA on the 43 points, believe playing third-placed Express FC won't be a walk in the park. While having light training sessions at Chitende, both the players and coaches were in a unison to offer their best come Friday. As Vipers hosts Express, Chetume FC will play Wakiso Giants at Kabaka Chabagu Stadium.
These chances are converted.
Yeah, we did convert our chances. We missed many scoring opportunities, but this time around we have worked on it during our training sessions after the game against Wakiso. So I think all players are ready, have been training well, and all those mistakes have been rectified. So we hope that against Express, we shall convert all our chances to help us get the goals that will help us get maximum points against Express.
Will there be any chance for them?
All players have equal chances. We just make sure that all of them are ready and prepared for any game that comes across us. So the observation was that everybody is prepared and ready for the challenge.
About the game we played against Wakiso, yeah, we know we have been having a good run at home. We have been winning every game at home. We have not so far been scored at home, and we have been scoring every game at home. Yeah, so it was a hard game for us because we did not score at home. That's why we made a draw. But we have gone back in training with the coaches, and we have managed to work on the mistakes that led us not to score goals on that day. About the Express match, every player knows his role, and the technical team. We have worked hard in training, and the recovery has been good for us. To see that tomorrow we can win our game against Express. We know it's not.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have a look at the top stories as we wind up. Police is holding 2 suspects over kidnap and murder of a Wanahimbi Siwe from Barara. Girls have been applauded for embracing ICT as the world celebrated International Day for Girls in ICT. Black Lives Matter supporters celebrated guilty verdicts against Derek Chauvin. While Stanbic Uganda Cup round of 16 draws were made, Express will face URA. Yes, we wish the best of the night. My name is Michael Jordan Lokomwa, and my partner on the sign language corner is Elizabeth Nakakoni. With the whole team here, we wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye. Molen Kenyana has the weather forecast report.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the weather desk. My name is Molen Kenyana, taking you through our weather update and of course the weather forecast, which will come in just a bit. First, let's take a look at the rainfall report we have right now. We do have a total of 15.3 millimeters across Gulu. With Bududa we have 12.4 millimeters, and light rains for Lira with a total of 3.7 millimeters. Now, looking at our satellite analysis, we still have those rain-bearing clouds that are scattered across much of the country, and those are the areas where we're having mostly rains. Now, Friday morning, we're expecting to have rainy conditions in the morning across parts of the Lake Victoria Basin, eastern Uganda, as well as parts of central north. Otherwise, the rest of the country will likely to have mostly a mix of clouds and sunshine. But later in the afternoon, we're expecting rains across the western stretch, the northern sector, extending all the way up to eastern Uganda. We're also likely to have those rains again across the islands of Lake Victoria, but we shall see a clearing trend across the Lake Victoria Basin. We shall have mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. We move over to our daytime highs. We are expecting a maximum of 27 across Kampala. Jinja will be at 28. We're also forecasting a warm day across northern Uganda as well as the Karamoja region. We shall see a maximum of 30 degrees, and also a high of 23 degrees is forecast across Kabale Highlands. Looking At some of the world cities we have for you, we are forecasting rainy conditions across Nairobi as well as Moscow. Nairobi temperatures will go up to 25. We're also forecasting a sunny day across London, Tokyo as well as Dubai. Very hot weather still across Dubai. Temperatures will go up to 39 degrees. And with that, we come to the end of our weather reports. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Mollen Kenyana.